Stoked?
Yes.
Okay. King's Gate. It's a game of medieval intrigue.
Okay.
Alright, so there are 10 districts in the city.
Sure.
We are attempting to take control of the districts by having the highest number with our tiles that we place around it.
Okay.
Each district is scored once it's fully surrounded by tiles. And then whoever has the highest number gets the highest number of points, then the second highest number of points, and the third highest number of points.
Okay.
In the 2-player game, we each play 2 colors. We count those colors separately for determining majority. So you could get 4 points for the palace if you hold the majority in both blue and red.
Yeah.
And then I would only get 1 and 0 with my minorities in yellow and green. Okay, so with a location tile, you're going to have this number in the top left corner that just tells you which number in the sequence it is from 1 to 10. If it has a white circle, it's a safe location, and if it's a black circle, it's a dangerous location. And we'll talk about those in a second. Some of the tiles have a character icon on them, which tells you that a character is also a reward for scoring in that place. In this case, it's first place, and that's the case it is for most of the tiles. And then you have 3 numbers telling you the number of points that you get for being in first place, second place, and third place on the tile. So with the tiles that you're going to have in your hand, most of your tiles are going to be tiles like this that are numbered 1 to 5, that you just add up the numbers to determine area majority. Very straightforward. There are 2 special ones in these, the 1 and the 3. With the 1, it has this star under it, which is to remind you that when you play a 1, with the exception of the garrison, which violates this rule, you can play as many other 1s as you want. And if you're playing the 2-player game where you each have 2 colors, you could play more than 1 color at the same time. So these 2 could be yellow, for example, if you were playing the green and yellow side. The other special tile is the 3, which has this sword under it, which is to remind you that at dangerous locations, you can't conquer a 3 and play a higher number over the top of it. So, like, where normally, with a situation like this, if somebody has a 2, I could come along and I could play a 4 over the top of it if it's a dangerous location. If it's a 3, though, I can't put this 5 over the top of it because you can't conquer the barracks, which is what the 3 is, and that's what the sword means. The other 2 special tiles are the tavern, which is just a tile that you can play in addition to any other tile. So you play a sequence of 1s and the tavern, or you could play a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5 and the tavern. The other one is the dragon tile, which you play to destroy another tile. So if there's this 5 out here with a couple of my other tiles around it, and I want to take out this 5 so that I can put something else there, I come along with my dragon and destroy it. And then immediately I get to place another tile, which I'm going to replace with my own 5 so that I have a big score. The character tokens. So the first one is the king, which you get from the palace tile. And with the king, with the king, you place all of these character tiles you're going to place with one of your other tiles. So you play your 2 and play the king with it. If the king is the one that you play here, for example, instead of this location being safe, now it's a dangerous location. These tiles are double-sided, so it almost would have been cool if the other side had a black circle instead of the white circle, but... and in some way was indicated that it was the alternative side. That might have been an interesting design choice, just to make it more clear, but it also would have been really fiddly to flip. The second one is the bishop. When you play the bishop, all of the tiles that are around your location, instead of being counted for their numbers, you're just counting number of tiles for majority now. So instead of this being, a 10 and a 5, it's 3 and 1. So the bishop can be a big game changer if you know that your opponents still have their 5s or still have quite a few of their 4s and you're down into your 1s. With the wizard tile, the wizard basically lets you do the same thing as 1s with another number. So you play the wizard with your 4 here for this one, and then also play another 4 at the same time. And all of a sudden you've got a big 8 there, which is pretty huge. With the 5th location, it's the only one that has 2 character tiles on it that you get for victory conditions. You get the guild master at 1 for first place, and you get the merchant for second place. The guild master token adds 2 to the value of any token that you play it with. So if somebody else has a 5 and you're at a dangerous location so you can conquer it, like this, then you can play your guild master with a 4, and that's a 6. So you can pop in there and cover up that 5. The merchant tile doesn't have a special ability. He just protects the tile that's underneath him like all the other character tiles do. So he's just a handy way to keep your tiles safe later in the game. The last of the special characters that you're going to get is the sorceress. And when you get the sorceress toward the end of the game, you play it instead of a tile for conquering a district, conquering a location instead of one of your district tiles. And it allows you to move one of your tiles from somewhere else on the board to bring your 5 back from earlier in the game. It's probably what you're going to be doing with it. Maybe a 4 if you haven't played your 5 yet. But you get to bring in one of your big tiles to give you another big score. There are 3 special locations. First one is the graveyard. At the graveyard, you can play 1 or 2 tiles, but never more than 1 or 2 tiles. The second special location is the garrison. At the garrison, the rules for placing 1s no longer applies. You can only place one tile at a time rather than playing as many of them as you want. And then the last one is the tourney grounds. And here, whoever scores the highest gets 3, and then it's 0-0. Whoever scores the lowest loses 3 points. So in a 4-player game or in a 2-player game with 2 colors, whichever of those 4 colors is the least represented is going to lose 3 points.
So I can play tile.
Yep.
Or more tiles.
Yes. 1 tile if it is anything other than a 1.
And I immediately draw another tile.
On your turn, you must play at least 1 tile, then draw back up to 6 tiles. Okay, there you go.
What do we do with ties?
With ties, the player to the left of the player who placed the last tile wins all ties.
Remind me again what the difference is between the white and black locations. Like, what does it mean if it becomes dangerous?
If it's dangerous, then if you play a 1, I could play a 2 on top of it. It's also noteworthy that character tiles protect you at dangerous locations. So, like, you throw down the king on one of your tiles, make the location dangerous, and nobody can cover your tile that has the king on it.
Do I get to place the new tile? I finished it.
You finished it, so you get to place the new tile.
Remind me what the bishop does.
The bishop is the one that allows you can play him on your number tile and make all tiles worth just one.
Yeah. Is this garden special, other than being dangerous?
That's the graveyard, which is the one where you may place 1 or 2 tiles on your turn, but never more than 2 tiles.
What I want to know is why it's so dangerous, this graveyard.
Oh, if you run out of tiles, the game is over.
Okay, this is the... Oh, there's 2 dudes on this one. There's like a balding dude, like a white dude. Well, they're all white dudes, but...
It's true. I'm guessing that is the guild master.
Sure. And then, like, a dude with a fancy hat. Is that special in any way?
Nope, 7 is not one of the special locations.
It's like some kind of medieval playground? Is that
I don't think there's like a number, or I don't think it tells you what any of the ones that aren't special are in this rulebook.
Oh, I guess those are gallows, not like...
3 of them have
Jungle
names. So, what did you think about Kingsgate?
I think it's okay.
Mm.
It probably is kind of dated in general in terms of better games have probably come out.
Sure.
Since this came out. I think it holds up.
It's not bad.
Like
my initial criticism before we started recording was that it's basically just smash up, and then as we started playing it, I felt like that didn't hold up, that wasn't as true as I thought it was at first, in particular because of the way, if you play the last tile, then you choose where to play the next one, and your tiles from the previous ones affect that next location, which I think is a really cool mechanic in the game.
And I definitely was trying to set up some kind of a pattern where I was leaving things out on the fringes.
Yeah, likewise. And then...
And it got difficult towards the end, where I have nowhere to place this that's going to matter, so...
Yeah. And we seemed to be pretty good about just coming in and ruining each other's plans to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if it is not well balanced as a 2-player game. It seemed okay.
It seemed okay as a 2-player game.
But you ran into the issue of you had just only one color in your hand at one point.
Oh, so many times. And, for the longest time during the game, all I had were, 1s in my hand. And, I'd be looking at a section and say, well, Sean has 8 or 9 points there already. I could play all these ones, except I think it was at the garrison, so I couldn't even play all of the ones. So it was already worthless to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the garrison, where all I had in my hand were 1s at this point, so it was just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah. And I intentionally played all 3 of my 1s here, knowing I was going to lose this just to clear them out of my hand and get new tiles to play at the next space, because I just was I need more options.
Yeah.
So, if you weren't playing a 2-player game, you'd be limited by... You wouldn't have, multiple... Are there only 1 or 2 5s per color?
I felt like there was only 1 5 per color.
Right, so it'd be much more of a valuable tile to hold on to.
And then you only have 2 4s, I think. Maybe 3?
Something like that, yeah. So, I don't know. It's obviously... It seemed fine.
Yeah, I was much happier with it than I usually am. It looks like 4 4s, because you've got 4 blue 4s there. Yeah, I was much happier with it than I expected to be, since neither of us particularly like abstract strategy kind of games like this.
And I guess, knowing now that you've played the game what the character powers are, and kind of knowing, this is going to be something I can use later on, is helpful, and we didn't have that advantage while we were going through it, and it's just I should have played this earlier, and I failed.
What did you feel about the safe versus dangerous mechanic for City District?
I think I blew it the very first time a dangerous came out, and I used my dragon on a dangerous district, not really understanding that that's what I was not supposed to be doing. Like, I just wasn't aware of it at the start of the game, and we kind of burned up our higher numbers early on in the safe districts when we shouldn't have.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Just something you would know after playing the game once. I think this is definitely a game that you play it once and you figure it out along the way, and then you need to play it again to really
do well. Yeah, for sure.
Aesthetically, I think that's the biggest drawback to this game, and that's a common complaint that I've seen online. It's just looking at it now that it's set up. It's just this
mass of all the same color, and none of it is distinct in any way.
So, I mean, the theme is nonsense, but that's not really. I mean, most of this designer's games are not.
Yeah.
The theme doesn't matter.
I looked at the box to confirm that it was Shrine of Knizia, and then I said, "Oh, yep."
So I mean, I think it would be interesting if someone were to decide to reprint this now and to give it a graphic overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Just clean it up and make it less cluttered, or even if they removed the theme from it and just made it more abstract, so that it wasn't look at all these buildings that are everywhere and. Yeah. 1 to 10, what would you give it after one play?
I would probably give it. Before we played it, I probably would have guessed I was going to be in the 5-ish range on it. And I think I came in around a 6.25, 6.5 on it.
Okay, sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm down around maybe the 6, 6.25. I think it's okay. I think I wouldn't be disappointed if someone were to pull this out and be like, "Hey, we're gonna play this game."
We're gonna play Kingsgate, yeah.
But if I'm really looking at it in terms of if you got stuck with someone who takes forever to make decisions, then this game is just really
would be really terrible, yeah.
If you're playing with people who are capable of kind of okay, I'm gonna and do that, if it moves at a decent pace, then it's not a bad sort of.
There are only a couple of places there where, right at the end of a particular district, where we both, okay, so he's got this and this and this, and that means I need to play a 2.
Yeah.
If I want to take the 1.
And it's not it's not a filler game, but it's too heavy to be a filler game, but it's not heavy enough to be a main event type of game that you're going to play. So
yeah, it's a weird kind of, if you were going to play 3 lightish games or so in an evening. Yeah, sure.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You experience the medieval intrigue.
Indeed. With a surprisingly close ending.
Yeah.
All right, Kingsgate.
Yep.
There you go.